Welcome back to Dubsy Bricks for another Gotham City update. In the last update we worked on the raised train line here and moved the courthouse down, as well as amending the size of the courthouse, and we still need to do a lot of work to that building. Need to just add a couple more bricks onto the top level, just get some more details in there, and then shrink the roof section down just a little bit because it's the old size for the previous building. Then I want to work on the raised area just behind the courthouse where the Monarch Theatre is currently standing, all ready for the Shrek Tower. And I'm also going to work out exactly where this building is going to be going. I'm considering rotating it around 90 degrees. Some of you put in the comments in the last video about having it at an angle, which would look really cool. However, I'm not sure whether or not there's quite enough room up there to get other things in around it, but I will experiment. That's the really good thing about these buildings being freestanding. I can rotate them easily enough and it doesn't cause any problems because it'll be resting on tiles and kept in place with a couple of jumper plates. Now, another thing I would like to have on this area over here is a train station for the raised train line, so that way people that are coming from other parts of Gotham that are going to the courthouse have got a mode of transport to get there. So without further ado, let's take the courthouse over to the table and let's get started. And here we have the top floor, and I'm decided I want to make a little bit of a change to the side there. I don't quite like the look of it. It's not enough detail in there. There was much more detail in the previous version, so I'm going to go back to look at the pictures of that old version and see if we can bring some of that over to this one. And there we have the two floors put together, and really happy with how this is coming along. Still need to work out what I'm going to be doing on the balcony area just here. Need to tile off the sides as I mentioned, and also work out what I'm going to do for the interior. I'm not quite sure on that just yet. I'm going to have a look at some source material and try and get some inspiration for that. I know in the Arkham games it's been taken over by the likes of Joker, etc. However, on this mock, it's not going to be quite like that. I want this to be an actual working courthouse, so it will be a tidied version inside. So next up, let's work on the roof section and get that all sorted. And here we have the roof section, which we're working on next. I need to shrink it down in both length and width. Height-wise, I'm quite happy with the height of it. I think that's going to be absolutely fine. But this is a section where I want to put a lot of lights. So I want to have a light in here, but I'm also going to have lights on the bottom of this so it illuminates the room below it. I think that's going to be the best option for doing so. So without further ado, let's start tearing this apart and getting it down to the correct size. And here we have the light in place for the tower, and the cable goes through a Technic plate just inside of the little chimney or the tower bit, whatever you want to call it here. Comes through the bottom and then it will go through the floor itself. Now originally I was going to have all of the wires in this section along with the battery box. However, this is very difficult to take apart. So this is one of the roof sections here, kept together with Technic beams, etc. So it's going to be easy to keep this all connected as one. So I'm going to have it that the wires are actually in the next floor, and then I'll just disconnect it that way. So it's going to be a little bit fiddly, but I think it's going to be easier than trying to work our way around it on this part. And that's what happens when you don't read the instructions and you just put any old light into your tower. You get a flashing one. So yeah, good for a disco. So I'm sure that's going to come in really handy in a nightclub or something like that around Gotham City. But it's not the look we're looking for at the top of the courthouse. But in regards to the lights, I'm really pleased with how well they light the buildings up on here, and the lamps at the front, once I put them on, I think it's going to be really, really good. And that's better. We now have just a single colour light at the top, so that's all good. Now we're going to move this back over to the city, put it in place, and have a look at what we're going to work on next. And I've rotated the courthouse round by 90 degrees and quite liking it facing forward here, but we'll see what happens with this section just here first of all before we make a decision on that. So next up, let's move these buildings out of the way, and I'm going to raise up this entire section all the way around here, ready for the Shrek Tower and the other bits and pieces that we're going to be putting on that part of the city. And that's the start of the next part of the raised area here. So with this part here, we're going to have the steps and the ramp going up here for things like wheelchairs or bikes. We're going to have some more steps on this part just here, which would be at a 45-degree angle. I thought that would be a nice change. And this area here is going to go all the way back, and obviously around the back there as well. So this is where the actual Shrek Tower, I'm intending on having it. And along here we have some other building of some description. Now with this whole area, because it's all raised, I will be able to put lampposts in along here afterwards and light them up as well. So that's going to be quite good. What I need to do is just peel off the relevant plates get that all sorted. But anyway, without further ado, let's carry on working on that back section just there. And that's the foundations all in place for this Shrek Tower. I've moved the courthouse along just a little bit, and I think that's where I'm actually going to have it. I quite like the positioning of that, where it is. Next up, let's work on the stairs and ramp just here, and also the steps to the front, and tile off the pavement area. And it's always nice to get the sidewalks all tiled off, and just need to get a load more of the triangular tiles and the cut-shaped ones just here, just so I can finish that all off. Now I am going to change a few of these tiles up eventually and have different colours in there to add a little bit of pattern outside of this corner. I think it would look a lot better doing that. And I might even put a statue of some description on here. It's quite a wide bit of pavement just in front of those steps. But yeah, once again, really nice to get little sections like this all tidied up and start hiding the ugly filler brick and filler plate. Next up, what I'm going to do is make a couple more of the train supports here and carry on the train line along the back. And we're just in the process of making the support stands for the raised train line, and I've slightly modified the style of the upright, and it's mainly due to the fact that I'm running very low on these parts here, and I'm using 4 on each side, where if I put my jumper plates, then I'm half that amount, so they go twice as far. Obviously, the other thing's around, I'm raising it up by a couple of bricks just to get it closer to the height of the raised platform where the train station is going to be. So let's carry on changing all of them over to this, and then I can put them in the city. And there we have the new design train supports all in place, and much happier with this version. Just by shrinking the bits in the middle there, by going over to one of the pre-molded pieces, I just think it works so much better. I have put that one round back to front, so I just need to change that over. But what I'm going to do now is turn my attention to the waterfront just here, and I want to have it says like a little pier bit coming out, or somewhere where people can do fishing or whatever else. So yeah, just add a little bit more character to the waterfront rather than just have a wall going along. And here we have the start of the pier area, and I've decided I'm going to keep it in a very similar sort of style as before. So we've got this part here, got a couple of hinge pieces on, and if I connect the hinge to that part just there and that side, it fits absolutely perfectly. So now what I need to do is just tile below this, then I'll rest this plate on there, the hinges will be connected below these wedge pieces, and then we'll be able to tile on top of it. And we've got a broken red part there, so lucky that's all going to be covered over. But it's such a shame that the dark red of the older pieces are so brittle along with the browns, but hey ho. Anyway, let's get this all sorted and see how it comes out. And there we have the start of the little section that comes out over the water. And what I think I'll do is put a zebra crossing going across the road there, which will then lead to the raised platform area. There are still a lot of details I need to do along here, like tiling off the top of it, but it's a good start. I can't wait to get the trans clear studs all put along the water to give that little bit more detail. Now, one final thing I want to do in this update is have a look at these here, and these are the lampposts that came with the Game of Bricks light pack. So I just want to get these out and see how I can put them on the raised platform area to conceal the wires. So let's have a look at doing that next, and I'll check back in once I've done so. And here we have a Game of Bricks light, and there is an original Lego one, and they're very similar. The bottoms are just a little bit different in detail, as is this part here, but height-wise, size, obviously everything is the same. Now with the Game of Bricks light, it does come out of the side here rather than the bottom. I think I'd have preferred it to have come out of the bottom, because then I could have gone straight through into a Technic brick or something like that. However, it's going to be quite easy to hide that, or at least I'm hoping it's going to be. So anyway, let's put these two lights, we've got two of these, so let's put them into the city and just see how they look when they're all lit up. And here we have the two lampposts all in place. One thing I'm not that keen on are the top bits here. They just look a little bit wrong due to the fact the light's shining that much through. Now, I'm not sure whether these are official Lego parts or not. However, we will experiment with different ideas on that. I also really want to have black lampposts. So I'm not sure, again, will I use these or shall I design my own? And here we have the courthouse all lit up, and it's obviously very dark at the moment due to the fact there's no other lights in the Lego city, but once we've got lamps everywhere else, it's going to illuminate a lot more of it. I think it's going to look really good. And I have to say that my first impressions of the Game of Bricks lights are really positive. I had to get the power supply into the second socket along just there, and there's not much room. That's as far out as I could get the board, and I got it in there so easily. The plugs go into their connection point a lot easier, I find, than the Like My Bricks ones that I've used in the past. So yeah, really happy with this product so far. Now, I haven't come across any technical issues at all, so I don't know what the after service is like, and hopefully I'll never have to find out. But yeah, really recommend the Game of Bricks at this stage. And remember, if anybody does want to purchase any Game of Bricks, I will leave a link in the description below. If you use the code DUBSY in your order, you will get 25% off of your order. And there is a small kickback which comes to the channel, which helps me obviously to buy the bricks to help extending Gotham City. There we have it. Really happy with how this part of Gotham City is coming along. Can't wait to start on the Shrek Tower and all of the details that are going to go around this area, as well as the other side of the courthouse. Now, I was considering putting a shop along this section just here, but I think what I'm going to do is have some steps going up to a train station for the raised train line. So I think that might be, at the moment, what I'm thinking about working on in the next update. Anyway, that's all we have time for. I hope you've enjoyed the update. If you have, please remember to give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future content on the channel. And if you know anybody else you think could be interested in building Gotham City in Lego, if you could share the channel with them, it'd be much appreciated. Anyway, thanks for watching on by, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.